In the book of Matthew, there is a passage that Jesus made a revelation about this generation. So this generation is New Testament times. And what that verse is saying is, you are either indwelled by the evil spirits or by the Holy Spirit. So there is no middle ground. So you are either indwelled by evil spirits or you are indwelled by the Holy Spirit. That's what the passage is saying. So if I say this, like a lot of Christians might say right away that, oh, I believe in Jesus, so the Holy Spirit is in me. So this message has got nothing to do with me. They might think that, but what I like to tell you is that I've been telling this so many times in this channel that the Holy Spirit doesn't get to dwell in you just by believing Jesus. So in order for the Holy Spirit to dwell in you, you have to deny yourself to follow Jesus and let Him sit in the center of you. Then the Holy Spirit will dwell in you, because Jesus and the Holy Spirit is one. That's the only way that the Holy Spirit will dwell in you. So that passage is in the book of Matthew. This is chapter 12, verse 43. When an unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through dry places, seeking rest, and finds none. So this evil spirit goes out of a man, probably because he was cast out. And he goes through dry places. So maybe the evil spirits, they don't like the water. Or usually the people, they live on dry lands. So to find the empty house, they go around on the ground. So he goes through dry places seeking rest and finds none. And it says, the evil spirit finds nobody that is empty. So that is why I told you, I believe that this passage is saying, like all the people on the earth, they are either indwelled by the evil spirits or the Holy Spirit. There is no exception. So he's saying here, he finds none. That means he tried to, like, how many people do you think he passed by? Like, probably he tried to look into many people, but there was nobody who was empty. So that's why he couldn't find one. So every person was occupied already. And then he goes on to say, then he says, I will return to my house from which I came. And when he comes, he finds it empty, swept and put in order. Then he goes and takes with him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter and dwell there. So many Christians might wonder, how can there be so many evil spirits? Like there are so many people on the earth right now. More than 1 billion people here on the earth. So that's why it says here, he goes and takes with him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself. So that means there were like 7 unclean spirits that could not find the empty house. That shows you, like, there could be so many evil spirits that couldn't still find the empty person, free of other evil spirits. That's why this evil spirit was able to bring 7 of them, more wicked than himself, and they enter and dwell there. So there are other passages in the Bible that tells you that there could be so many evil spirits, probably more than all the humans alive. And it's found in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 4. His tail drew 1/3 of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born. So this child is Jesus, and this woman is Israel. So just before Israel bore the child, so just before Jesus was born, this happened. So his tail, so the dragon, the Satan, drew a third of stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. So if you look at the sky, like there are so many stars, so you can't even count. And it says here, as many as a third of the stars of heaven. So like a third of all the angels in heaven, they were like evil spirits. So the Satan threw them down to the earth. So how many do you think are on the earth right now? This tiny earth. Like so many stars were cast down onto the earth. So you can imagine there are so many evil spirits now on the earth. Enough to occupy all the human beings on the earth right now. So if you think about it, if a person is empty, then why would the evil spirit leave it alone? It said here like that evil spirit, he was cast out, and then he could just go around, and if he finds any empty house, he can just walk in. So there are so many evil spirits on the earth right now, and why would they leave anyone empty? Unless he is indwelled by the Holy Spirit. But there are not many. So if you think about it, before Jesus came, like there were so many people like possessed by evil spirits. But if you read the Old Testament times, like there are almost no stories of people possessed by evil spirits. But just before Jesus was born, there were so many evil spirits, and they were possessing people. And that's why Jesus was able to show his power. I think that was one of the reasons why just before Jesus was born, the evil spirits were cast down onto the earth. And some people might wonder, like at the time if you read the book of Matthew, John, book of Mark, when they are possessed by evil spirits, they act like very weird, like they hurt themselves, they wander around in the cemetery, and they are out of their mind, they are crazy, right? But you see almost none like that in the world right now, very rare. So some might think that there's no evil possessed people right now, because so everybody is normal, right? But what I like to tell you is that in my native country, Korea, there was some kind of boom in the 1970s and 80s in some Christian circuit about exorcism. And it was very popular, so I went there too. And what happens is that when a pastor tries to cast out demons, like those people act normal. But so if you look at them, you can't tell. But when the pastor start talking to them and demand their name, and only after that the evil spirits start to act out. So even though a person is possessed by an evil spirit, you can't tell. So I think the evil spirits are very smart now, so they don't show, right? They don't make it very obvious, but they indwell in the people and they control them. So this is the New Testament, and this is the evil generation. So he says here, if you go back to the Matthew chapter 12, and the last state of that man is worse than the first. So if an evil spirit gets to indwell in a person, like that person becomes more and more like the Satan, and it begins to influence that person. And it says here, so shall it also be with the wicked generation. So this is the revelation about this generation, this New Testament times. And this revelation was made by Jesus himself. So this New Testament generation is a wicked generation. So you hear in the churches that a lot of Christians, they are saying there is no one who is holy. all of the people, whether or not they believe in Jesus, they are all evil. There is no one holy. So it's impossible to be holy. So that's one of the reasons why there are things like that, because the Christians, the Jesus-believing Christians, find it very hard to live holy. They are just following Satan and keep on sinning, and then follow after this world, which is following after Satan. So that's what's happening in these New Testament times. So why am I telling this to you? It's because to beat the enemy, you have to know about the enemy. You have to know what you're up against. So we have to realize that these evil spirits have power. And when they dwell in you, they begin to influence your thinking. And they give you evil urges. So that no matter how you want to become like Jesus, but you go the other way. And you just keep on snatching up all the evil urges given by the evil spirits, and you're supposed to live like a Christian, but you're not able to do that. And if they indwell in the people, they become more and more like Satan in their character and in their actions. So there's a saying in the churches that we have to become more and more like Jesus, but instead they become more temperamental, and some might get even more violent and more arrogant. And because of the lying spirits, even Christians, they believe that impossible to not lie. And so the lying will increase, and all the vanity, they follow after this world. They want bigger house, more clothes, more shoes. They try to fill their void with all the vain things, luxury cars. And I believe that many Christians are now hesitating to deny themselves to follow Jesus. And a lot of Christians might think that right now I want to enjoy my life, and I want to enjoy this world a little bit more. And when I get old, when I retire, maybe I'll start working for God. I will start following Jesus. But in reality, that might not be the case. So I believe that when the evil spirit dwells in a person, its grip on that person becomes stronger and stronger. And start filling that person with more vanity, more love for this world, and like a game addiction. And there are so many entertainments right now in the world, and they might fill that person with more disobedient spirit to make that person more disobedient and feel more lazy, so that they don't want to work hard. So when I retire, I will work for God. Maybe I'll go missionary somewhere. But when they retire, now I worked all the days of my life. Maybe I want to rest a little bit. I want to enjoy a little more. And then when they are old and powerless, they can't work anymore. So evil spirit's grip on that person will get stronger and stronger. So it'll be even harder than now to commit to Jesus. So I believe that there is only one way to get out of this situation. I talked about in the beginning of this video. So as soon as possible, before it's too late, you have to deny yourself to follow Jesus and let him sit in the center of you. And you let him make the decision for your life and what to do with your life and what kind of work you can do for him and his kingdom. Only then Holy Spirit will dwell in you, because Jesus and the Holy Spirit is one and the same. So that is the only way. Then you will be free of this slavery and bondage to the sin, and you will master the sins, and you will start living a holy life, and you will be finally free from the evil spirit. And then you will start following Jesus as a born-again Christians, and you will be saved, and you will keep following him until you enter his kingdom. That is the only way for this evil generation. I wish you blessings from the Lord.